Hello, guys. Before I move to part four of the SURD, let me reiterate, correction on the validity of SURDs. Okay. Um, Let me appreciate you once again for your comments, for your support, for your like, for your share. It is much appreciated. Please let me just let you know that from part three that I mentioned yesterday, it is very clear from what I said that, okay, for multiplication in sort, you can have that's I use A and B, yes, in part three of the presentation, like A times B is equals to root A times root B, and we confirmed that yesterday. So that is one first validity in sort, which is very important. The second one that I need to reiterate, for correction is root A over B is the same thing as root A over root B. Okay, because in indices there is what we call the same power. So if you have any base, or perhaps if you have any base that has the same power, then you take the power. So that is why this is what we call, this is valid for sort, valid sort, and this also is also called valid sort. Okay, so this is just to re-emphasize it so that to avoid misleading. This two is very key in sort. Multiplication is valid, division is also valid. Now for this division, what I mean, let's assume A is 8, let's assume B is 4. Okay, now from here we have that's 8 over 4. Then here we have root 8 over root 4. Now, for this B, which is this, this is the first, this is the second. I'm dealing with the second. We've done this in part 3. I'm just trying to re-emphasize this two here so that it will be very clear to everybody. So here, what we can do here is that in indices, there's what we call 8 over 4. In indices, there's what we call the same power. 8 raised to power 1 over 2 is the same thing. Okay, then we also have 4 raised to power 1 over 2. So if you are having the same power, you can take it, because in indices, the same power, join the division and take one power, which is the same thing as root 8 over 4 equals 8 over 4, everything all over 1 over 2. That is indices for you. Okay, so the same power, if you're having the same power, okay, take one power and take the division. So from here, this one is the same thing as 8 over 4 equals square root. You can change it back to 8 over 4. Very important. So we just need to note that. So in the invalidity in sort, we have, multiplication here is valid, then division is also valid. So that is that. Now we can now move to part 4 in the in sort, which is simplification. Simplification of sort. Simplification of sort. So what we mean by simplification in sort is to, they can give you a particular sort and tell you to break it down to the lowest where you cannot break it further. Okay, bring it down to the lowest where you cannot break it down further. Let's say for instance um we have 72. Let's say A, we have roots 72, and here they said simplify root 72. Okay, so what you just need to do when you say you want to break it down, you can just say, okay, so what I'm trying to say is that simplification of SURD, you break it down to the lowest. Okay, so an example, let's just say root 72. So root 72 is the same thing as 36 times 2. Okay, we're trying to simplify it because 2 can divide 72. 2 here, 3. 2 in 12, 6. So 36 times 2 will still give you the same answer, even if you press your calculator. So from here, we can say, don't forget, this is where multiplication of SURD applies. Don't forget that I say root AB, root A times B. Okay, let me just give you this. Please hold on. Then you can have then you can have root A times B is equals to root A times root B. Okay, now if you look at this now, it's the same thing here. Okay, so now it means that I can say root 36 times root 2. So I'm trying to simplify. So don't forget validity of SURD. I'm trying to apply validity of SURD in this question. Very simple. So all I just need to do, we know that root 36 is what? 6. 6 times 6 is 36. So just write 6 root 2. So the question I need to ask myself is that can I still break this one further? No, I cannot break it further. So it means I've simplified this root 72 to be equals to 6 root 2. Okay, so let's say we have another one, which is let's say B. We have B. Let's say um let's say we have 80, 81. That's 162. Let's say we have 162. Okay, 162, if you break it down, it can also give you you can have 81 times 2. Okay, this is very simple. You can generate as many questions as possible from this. Okay, so it means that I can apply the same thing here, the same um multiplication validity in SURD, okay, which I did from above. So it means I can say this one is root 81 times root 2. So root 81, you can see that that is 9 times 9. 9 times 9 is 81. Is 81. This is 9 root 2. Very simple as it is, it comes out in a normal standard exam. Okay, either in the option or in the objective, either in the objective rather or in the theory part. So it's very, very simple that it's paramount that we understand this very well. Let's pick another another this thing here. So if we say, okay, we have 27, that's 7 times 3, 21, carry 2. I'm trying to form a question, 3 times 2, 6. Then you have 81. Okay, let's say root 81 itself. Okay, now from this root 81, I can simplify it further to be 27, 27 times 3. Okay, so from the multiplication SURD validity, so I can split this to be root 27 times root 3. So root 27, we can say that, okay, root 27 can also be simplified further to be 9 times 3. Okay, root 27 can also be simplified to be 9 times 3. So which is, okay, the same thing as, okay, 9 times 3, okay, then times root 3. So from here, we can say, we can now simplify with a root 9 times 3 times 3. Okay, don't forget that this is together. So we can say root 9, root 3 times root 3. Okay, so from this now, root 9 is this, is 3 times 3, that's root 9. So which is equals to 3 times root 9 is equals to 3, which is equals to 9. That is how we got 9 times 9 to be what? 81. So as time goes, as you solve as many questions as possible, in fact, you don't need to do some calculation before you know the answer straight. You can see this. How do you get 9? We know that it's 9 times 9 times table will give us 81. What if you don't know? What if they ask you to show your working? How do you arrive to 9? Okay, that is exactly what I've done now. I've simplified 81. I'll break it down into pieces. Look at it now. 27 times 3. 27 times 3 will give you 81. I've simplified it using multiplication of SURD above. Okay, and that multiplication of SURD has given us root 27 times root 3. I can still simplify this 27 into 9 times 3. Okay, I apply multiplication SURD again. That's root 9 times root 3. Then this root 3, I brought it down here. So if you look at it now, root 9 is equals to 3. And don't forget, multiplication of SURD is the same thing as, like this one that I just mentioned here. This 2 here is similar to what we have here, okay, which is the multiplication validity. So it means that I take one square root and I times 3 times 3. That will give us what? 9. Okay, then root 9 is equals to 3. 3 times 3 is equals to 9. This is exactly how you simplify SURD. Okay, so we'll still deal with so many questions in some of our section. We'll dedicate 1 week to be able to solve as many questions that we can handle, both in the past question, both in the text in the exam. We'll try and pick as many questions as possible to ensure that we were able to cover as much as possible for you to know that this question comes out in any standard exam. So it's very key for you to note that. So simplification is very, very simple. Break it down to the lowest. And let me note something to you. Let me note something now. I can give you this question here and ask you to turn it back to 72. Okay? Return it back to short form. Let me just give you one example. So I believe these 3 examples that I've been able to coin out by heart has really explained how you simplify SURD. So what I wanted to do now is just to give you an example of how you can return a particular simplest form of SURD to the awesome SURD. So from here, I can just say A, that is return 2 root 7 to a single SURD. So if they ask you to return 2 root 7 to a single SURD, all you just need to do is 2 root 7. What can I do? All I just need to do is just, okay, I can turn, before I can square this 2, let me turn it to 4. That will be 2 times 2, okay, times root 7. If you look, it's very, very simple. Now, 2 times 2 is 4. Square root of 4 is what? 2. And this is this root 7 here. 2 times 2 is 4. Square root of 4 is still 2. Okay? So it means that this section here, this 2 here, is the same thing as what we have here. Then this 7 here, okay? This 7 here is the same thing as what we have here. Very simple. What I'm trying to do here is that I'm trying to return 2 root 7 to a single SURD. A single SURD, they will tell us to simplify. But in this case now, they are telling us to return it back to a single SURD. Now, from here, I can say this is root 4 times root what? 7. So don't forget, from validity of multiplication, I can take one square root and say 4 times what? 7. So 7 times 4 is what? 28. It's as simple as that. So now, if they ask me to return this 2 root 7 to a single SURD, this is exactly what I will do. So from here, this is the same thing as this. Okay, this 2 here is the same thing as what we have here. So 2 times 2, that is 4. So root 4 will give us what? 2, which is the same thing here. So with this 7 that we have here, so when you bring it together, multiplication validity of SURD, that's 4 times 7. So you return it to a single SURD. This is what we call single SURD. Okay, so it's as simple as that. I can say, okay, B, I can give you another one and say, okay, let's play with let's have, let's say 16 root, let's say root 11. Okay, so if they say I should return this one to a single sort, I can just say, okay, it's the same thing, just follow the same pattern. Just say 16 times 16 square root. Okay, so it means this 16 is the same thing as what we have here. Okay, it's the same thing, just bring the root 11 here. Okay, which is what we have here, root 11. So from here, I can say you can just go to you can press your calculator. It's not compulsory you do this. 6 times 6, 36, carry 3, 6 times 1, that's 9, that's 6, that's 1. So that's 6, that's, you have 15, then you have 256. So it means 16 times 16 is what? 256 times root 11. So all you just need to do is just that, okay, multiplication, validity of SURD. Pick one SURD, pick one square root, and say 256 times what? 11. So by the time you press your calculator, it will give you the answer. I can come here and say, okay, I can times 256 and 11 together. All you just need to do, this is 6, this is 5, this is 2, this is 6, this is 5, this is 2. So all you just need to do is 6, that's 11. Then you have 3, that's 8. Then that's the answer is what? 2816. It's as simple as that. So don't forget, return to single sort. You follow the same pattern as the way I've explained. Then they can also say simplify that single sort, okay, to the lowest. So that is very, very key. And that is what we have for you for part 4, and I believe that you enjoyed it. And please don't forget, like, share. You can comment if you have any observation, if you have any contribution. You can comment in the comment section, okay, and share so that this can reach a lot of students that are having challenges with mathematics. Because the target of this presentation of this part, different parts in topics in mathematics, is just for us to reach as many students as possible so that they can see that mathematics is very interesting, and they don't, if they can follow, and solve a lot of questions, they won't have any issue with mathematics again. It's as simple as that. Then by the time they solve a lot of questions, a lot of past questions based on what they've learned on in all the parts from part 1 to where we are going to stop, I believe they won't have any issue with SWORD again, either from SS1, SS2, or SS3, or perhaps maybe their post UME or their JAM. They won't have any issues again because it's very, very clear. Thank you.